Hi, I'm Rachel, and I'm going to show you how to bring your imagery to life in felt. Now, you can follow along this tutorial by duplicating the map in the notes and just following along as I teach you about how to bring this to life. So, imagery is one of those things that just requires a bit of annotation, a lot of contextual items on the map to sort of help people understand what's going on. And felt is a great place to share that because annotation is easy and you can share to just a few people or on your team. You can add this map to your team's maps, or you can share with a wider audience via a single link. So, I mean, it's really a wonderful place to tell your story with imagery, and we're going to show you how to do that. So follow along, and here we go. So I've brought in this imagery, this Modus imagery, and it's immediately projecting to where I'd expect it to on felt. But the first thing you're going to notice is that we want to change the background. So we press this plus sign here, and we say that we want to do a color. All right, so we want it to be white. So I can type in FFFF there or use the color picker. All right, so here we are. It looks a lot more like it did over here. And now we are going to start adding some of that context we were talking about. So I went ahead and speedily dropped in all of these elements just by searching for the key sort of cities that are impacted by all of this smoke. And so they are all in here as elements. But as elements, they're a little too prominent, and I want them to sit a little further back on the map. So I'm going to right click, select all of the same type. Okay, cool. So that's awesome. And now I can actually export as GeoJSON right from the right click menu. So you'll see it download here into the bottom of my browser. I'm going to delete these elements. And I actually have already brought them back in as a data layer here, and I will start editing them, turning that white, making the size of the point a bit smaller, adding a label. When you bring this back into felt, it will be under felt text. So there are those labels. And you can tell, again, they're a little too big, and we want to make them a little smaller. So there we go. So now we have the contextual cities. They're there, but they're not sort of in your face. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so now if we look back over here, we want to bring in sort of that state level context. And we can do that pretty easily by selecting this clip tool. So when clip comes up, you'll see all of the states and provinces that are impacted come up. And we want to clip these polygons out. So I'm going to press Shift, and when I select, I can bring these polygons onto my map. And you can press space to pan when you kind of get out of view and you need to keep navigating. And there we go. I think that ought to, maybe Michigan here, be most of the states impacted. Okay, and so one thing that I'm seeing immediately is when I clip these out, they are not fully transparent, and I'd like them to be, and they're also a little too thick. So I'm going to right click and select all of the same type again. Great. All right, so I want to actually, what's going to make my life easier and more organized is if I can group these. So I'm going to create a group called states and provinces. And then I'm going to select all of these so that everything in my group, and I'm able to bulk edit it. So if I wanted to add an attribute to every single polygon here, I could. In this case, I'm just trying to style it. So I can use these sliders or type it in here. Like we know we want the fill to be 0. Maybe I want to play around with stroke a bit more in terms of what that's going to look like. I think I'd like it to be bright white, but thin. So I've got my states. It's a little bright, so maybe I'll tone it down a second. Um, Maybe let's do 70. That looks good. All right. So now we've got that context that we have here. And we are going to start annotating. So we can do so really easily. So Felt has a marker tool. I can just start drawing if I want to point out things, like here is the burn scar. But if I want it to look a little bit more professional, I can select this line tool or press L and get a straight line. And then I can select text or press T and start annotating. I might want to consider putting all my annotations into a group. That's certainly what happens here, because now I can turn them on and off together. I can also group edit them to be the same size. There's a lot of advantages to doing that. So that's what you'll probably spend the rest of your time on, is annotating burn scars, the big accumulations of smoke, and fire getting picked up by satellite. So please follow along on your own map and let us know how it goes in the notes. Thanks so much.